Today I was journaling and just kind of recapping what has happened for me over the past month to a month and a half, because energetically and psychologically there had been a lot going on, and in very distinct ways. So I could feel very distinct shifts happening in the way my body and my spirit, my mind was feeling for the past 7 weeks or so. And my goal, I didn't go into journaling mode to try to do this. But as I journaled, this came out and I wanted to document it because I think I've come to a visual realization of something that had happened to me on a difficult to picture, envision, explain level. Weird. I thought I would enjoy having this on, but it's bothering me actually, so I'm going to turn it off. Okay. So I ended up drawing a picture, figuring my way out through this diagram. I don't think it'll focus properly. Okay. I might try to do a cleaner version of this and post it with this video, but basically what I discovered and uncovered or realized while drawing this out is what I'm going to be trying to verbally explain in this video. Okay. I don't like to turn on the fan because it gets noisy, but then it gets really hot for me, so please excuse the noise. So just to begin, closer to the end of August, I had entered this state of feeling what I referred to in a previous video or two as my cloaked phase, and basically it was a state in which I felt very super detached and empty, and kind of just like suspended in a middle place that I didn't really understand where I was, and it wasn't associated with all too many emotions, so to speak. It was more of a very kind of cold, hard, objective sense of feeling like I wasn't here nor there. And so visually, what I realized had happened during that period for me was this state. Okay, so this circle, let's call that the 3D world, the reality that we see before our eyes in the flesh and bones. And this square, let's call that the reality that exists otherwise. So the unseen world. You can include in here whatever you'd like to include, but for me this includes what would normally be or typically be described as, the world of spirits, the world of higher consciousness, the higher dimensions, that place that you can access when, for example, you go into your meditation, or when you're just more aligned with source consciousness, with God, with the universe, with our other beings from other dimensions. Let's just say you can call that square place all of that is beyond and above this fleshly world, okay? So basically, I had felt my consciousness, my awareness was here in like where this dot was. So I didn't feel fully here, nor was I fully there. I was in between. Okay? So this was around the end of August. And then you see this plus sign? So I started to feel a pull towards 3D, towards my 3D body. And this is that phase that I also described in an earlier video where I was really fully embodying my 3D world and life and body. And so I was super social, super active, super like bam, 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 action, action, action. But this, yeah, really living my life in the matrix. And so I got pulled into my 3D world and 3D body. And what did I write here? That ego detached state of observation void empty, the negative space. Yeah, okay, so that was that place that I told you about. And then I felt pulled in this direction. So I entered this matrix body and world, and I kind of like fully embodied it. I'm sorry for the focus. Okay. It was almost as if my consciousness re-entered my being, my bodily being fully, and it was like 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 I activated my body through my consciousness re-entering my body. I don't know if this is making sense, guys. It made sense to me. So okay, so then I spent a few weeks in this mode where I was here. And then I started to feel a pull from the 3D or the 5D world. Let's just call it the beyond 3D world because maybe it's not 5D. It's just above 3D. But I just have been referring to it as the 5D because of my up till now knowledge and awareness of what that entails. But someone watching this, if you guys know more about the higher levels of dimensions and consciousness, I am fully aware that some could argue that, oh, you know, girl, you're not there yet, or like, you don't know what you're talking about, and I don't know exactly what I'm talking about yet. I'm trying to figure this all out. I'm just explaining to you my discoveries thus far. So all of this could change. I could refine my understanding in the future, but this is just where I'm at right now as of September 30th, 2024. Okay. So, okay, let's go back. So I was here and I was like, whoa, what's going on? I'm alive. And then I started to be pulled. I felt a pull in this direction. So it's funny because it's not like I am intending to go into one dimension or another. I feel a gravitation and I just kind of follow that pull. And so I started to feel the pull back towards here. And then this is what started happening, the merging of my 3D and 5D spaces of my 3D and 5D. I don't know how else I would put that. And this was a really uneasy and difficult process. So this was kind of like the week leading up to and the week of Chuseok. So a lot of shadows, triggers, but also like, I understand I think this has happened before, that in a way though, however, that I was not fully aware of exactly, like in this visual way. Like my understanding has been becoming more and more enhanced and refined with each level and layer of integration that's happening. And so I feel like this may have happened before, but I haven't really thought that intentionally back. or really looked for where, when, and how this has happened before. So maybe I'll get to that at some other point. But for today, I guess I'm just saying this process was really difficult. And I wrote something about this process here. Yeah, so heavy energies, shadows and triggers. My body was so tired. And so this was also around the time of, the full moon and the eclipse. And so I can see why and how there were multiple factors at play here. I was feeling very burnt out. And it was interesting because this time around, the shadows and the limiting beliefs of my old programming and the triggers, I was dealing with all of that in a different way compared to before. And that's why I'm saying I think this has happened to me before, because with each micro level integration that occurs on our journey of ascension, greater consciousness, whatever you want to call this, spiritual journey or awakening, whatever name works for you. On my journey, I think this must be not my first time around. And I say this because I realize that I am now reacting in a much different way than I'm pretty sure I used to react in the past when this would happen. And interestingly enough, I feel like I also tried to describe this in a video before, but when this merging happens, when your body and your spirit worlds come together and become like enmeshed, what that quite literally feels like is like the tectonic plates, they drift apart, as well as they clash together, right? Like an earthquake almost, and the breaking away of different parts of what used to be one piece of land, or the merging together of what used to be separate land masses, right? So it's a disturbance in your internal kind of status quo. So that was physically difficult, and on a mind level, somewhat confusing and thought-provoking. Like, a lot of questions came to mind. But throughout this all, somehow, somewhere within me, I knew that I just kind of knew what was happening. Maybe not to this extent, but I don't know how to describe it, guys. It was just something in me that knew that it's okay. And so that was like what happened. And when this happened, it was, I think I described this earlier, but it was more like a call, like a pull from above that brought this new, like, conscious embodied body, or bodily embodied consciousness, who I was. That embodied entity was now being pulled into this other dimensional space, and it was merging. Body and mind was merging to soul, kind of, or spirit, or something beyond. Okay, I'm just gonna move on. So that was what the process that was happening September week 2 to 3, and then starting from, I guess, like this, like last week to this week, what's been happening is I feel this. I feel integrated. I feel not like I'm in some kind of a void. This is not to say that I have full visibility on my future and everything is going perfectly in my life right now and that I know like what's gonna happen. That's not what I'm saying. The uncertainties continue to abound, yet I don't feel like I'm a passive observer or like a questioning observer. I don't know how to describe it, because in this state where I was an observer, it wasn't like a bad state or anything like that at all. And there is still a part of me that's continually observing. But I just feel embodied. And I honestly can't think of any other word to better describe what it feels like than this sense of feeling integrated. Like something here, here, and here has arrived at this place of oneness. And what I thought was interesting was, if you look at this image, guys, this is dot in a circle, in a square, right? But if you can imagine this from the side, what it would look like if it were viewed from the side, there's actually no difference than what this would have looked like from the side. You get what I'm saying, right? Like square dot circle. If you turn that around, then it becomes like, it looks different. But if you look at it from the side angle, it's still square dot circle. And so that made me think, okay, there's something here. I don't know exactly what is there yet, but there was just something kind of funny and some irony there. And well, to be honest, like this whole process, depending on your perspective, nothing moved or changed or shifted. Yeah, so if you look at this whole process from this angle, nothing happened. Which I feel like is what it would have looked like in my 3D world to someone from the outside who only had the ability to view this happening from like the side angle. I don't know if there's another word for side angle, but that's the only word that I can think of right now. But if you have a greater awareness of the different perspectives and angles that life can be happening for you, I think you realize, so take the 2D-ness out of this, and if you turn it into spheres and cubes, it becomes completely different. So in that sense, I wrote down here, there's something about a process that looks so almost as if nothing changed, but it's a process that takes you into a higher dimension. And so, yeah, I think I've recently and am currently going through one of my most conscious and aware integrations throughout this journey of mine. And I am also aware, I wrote down here, process may likely repeat. So I understand this could happen again in maybe a slightly different way, or not. But this really helped for me to be able to like draw it out and gain a visual understanding of all the stuff that happened over the past 6, 7, 8 weeks or so. And just a pat on the back for myself, I wrote, great job processing. So yeah, great job processing. And then I was thinking, so now what? Like, what about October? And then I felt called to meditate, and that's why I was actually outside journaling and processing everything. And I came back home, and now, after having filmed this, I am going to meditate and prepare for October. So, did I say everything I wanted to say? I think I have. So this was me sharing about how I visually processed my most recent integration. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.